Okay, here we go. I've decided to do a live stream today, probably a short-ish one, but I thought it would be fun and I had a little extra time. So here I am. Let me just get set up. Okay. All right, I've got my chat set up. Let me light a candle. Hi, Anne's Human. Welcome. All right. And I'm going to light some Palo Santo. Welcome to anyone who might be joining. My name is Will of the Hermit's Lantern Tarot, and I'm going to do some free live readings today. If you're interested in receiving a reading, please check the video description or the pinned chat message. And today I am using the Gay Marseille Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. This is a gift I received over the holidays, and I've been playing with it for myself, and I'm excited to do a kind of test drive for it here with you all and anyone else who might drop in today. Okay, so let me shuffle my cards. I have a little list forming. I have Anne's Human on the list, and I have Ascending Universal Butterfly on the list. Okay, so why don't we get started? We'll start with Anne's Human. If you have a question ready, you are welcome to put it in the chat. All right. So Anne's Human wants to know about a new, let's say, friend, but who could maybe turn into something more. You're talking with this person, Yoshita, and you're wondering where are things headed with Yoshita. She's also a reader like me, and the two of you clicked, but you're curious, like, what could come from this? Um, what potential is there in this new acquaintance or friend that you have met? So let's see. I'll pull 3 cards for that. Okay. That's enough riffle shuffling. So 3 cards to see what is coming for Anne's Human and Yoshita. Let's see. Okay, first card up is 9 of Swords, followed by the King of Swords. Ooh. Followed by the 7 of Swords. So we've got nothing but swords here, which is noteworthy. I do note there's a decrease in swords, right? 9 to 7. So the difficulty represented by the swords slowly decreases. And this is a predictive reading, right? Like the question formulated was like, what's in the future between the two of you? In the center, we have the King of Swords. And so the King of Swords could represent either of you, or it could just represent sort of the feeling of the situation itself, like maybe what's mediating between the two of you. And the King of Swords tends to present challenges to others, right? Like the King of Swords isn't the sort of person who rules by telling you, oh, this is for your own good, or by helping you work, or by paying someone else to do the work. The King of Swords can be kind of a tyrant, right? Like this is how it's going to be. You're going to follow what I set down. I create the order here, and I'm not going to listen to other ways of thinking about it. And so, thinking about that in the context of your question, there's a sense that coming forward for the two of you is a challenge of perhaps a lack of flexibility. I also think there's something unknown. There's a mystery that needs to be investigated in what's going on between the two of you, because 9 of Swords suggests there's going to be a kind of change for the worse, or if not a change for the worse, a difficult change that will need to be overcome, right? Like something tough that you'll have to go through regarding this, as I phrased it earlier, lack of flexibility. And it's something that's going to have to be investigated. 7 of Swords has to do with, often with a mystery, an investigation, something that is not yet understood and that is tripping things up, right? Like, uh, there's a sense that not everything is known. Something unknown needs to come up to the surface, if that makes sense. Um, I think I want to look at this a little bit more. And since my list is awfully short at the moment, and I'm not seeing tons of folks in here, I'm going to make an exception to my rule of one reading per person, I think, because I want to look more at this. I think it's very interesting. Anytime we're reading about a relationship between people and we get nothing but swords, right? So the another way of reading cards is to have them pose a question for you. And so the question these cards seem to be posing is, what is this mystery that needs to be investigated? Okay. Uh, a difficult change which creates a challenge in a situation perhaps lacking flexibility, requires further investigation. The seven, I will say, the Seven of Swords traditionally in cartomancy is a kind of, um, it can represent tears, right? Like sadness. Well, not necessarily sadness, but anything you might have tears over. Um, so I want to look at this more. So I'm going to ask a follow up question. And the follow up question is is what is the mystery that needs to be uncovered? We see that one's coming. What is it? And so I'm not going to reshuffle because we're on the exact same line of questioning. So it doesn't necessitate a reshuffle. So what is it that is not yet understood and that needs to come out so that the King of Swords can do whatever the King of Swords is going to do about it? Okay, so let's see. 6 coins. Ah, temperance. Okay. So temperance is about flexibility here. And the reason I made such a comment when temperance came down is because the King of Swords is generally inflexible. It's his way or the highway. He can be kind of a tyrant. And temperance is the opposite of that. Temperance is extremely flexible. I would choose temperance as the main card in the tarot to represent flexibility. So I think that the mystery to be uncovered here has to do with a kind of clash of personality types, might be a good way to put it. Uh, in this second string of 3 cards, we've got 6 coins indicating doing things in such a way as to produce really great results, and 2 batons indicating not necessarily having to put a whole lot of work into it, cooperating with one another in order to get a whole lot of really good results. And how is that accomplished? Well, it's accomplished through flexibility. The issue is if the King of Swords and Temperance come up against one another, Temperance is always going to, what's the word? Give in to the demands of the King of Swords, right? So I think the issue here that is coming forward that could cause problems is that one of you is more demanding or exacting or insistent than the other. And the other person is very willing to give in to those demands in a way that would potentially unsettle the relationship, right? Like, um, one person, the King of Swords, always saying, "Here's how it's going to be," and Temperance always saying, um, "Okay, I can redo things. I can be flexible. Um, I can mix it this way instead of mixing it that way. I can moderate my life in order to accommodate what the King of Swords wants, right?" And so you know your personality and this other person's personality better than I do. So you will have to decide which person you think is which in that scenario. But I think that is the main tension that's coming out in these cards. Uh, I do think that seeing the two of clubs here, I see the two of clubs as like a helping hand. The two of clubs is two people, each represented by one of these batons, working together. We also see in this particular deck the little bees, right? I don't know if you can see them, but they're like little bumblebees, indicating a sense of like cooperation and working together. And so, um, if if you can work through this potential kind of mismatch of personalities, I think there's a great potential to be able to work together with this person, and find a path forward that would be valuable to both of you. So I'm just taking another peek to see if there's anything I've missed here. Well, one other thing I see, the two figures are looking in different directions. King of Swords looks to the right, like to the future, and Temperance looks to the left, which is like to the back, to the past. And and so that is another indication of a kind of contradiction in the way these two figures sort of see the world, their personalities. They're looking in different directions. So I guess um, the main takeaway that I would see here is what is coming for you and this other person, Yoshita, is a realization that you do have some conflicting personalities traits, right? And those will be something you'll need to work through uh, in order to build a relationship if the two of you decide that indeed that is what you want to do. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Um, can you do a reading for me? I would be down for that. I'm not sure. Would it be like a written reading or what are you thinking? But I'm open to the idea. Oh, in the chat? Yeah, I'd be down for that. Um, let me. I want to do Ascending Universal Butterflies reading if they are still here. And then if anyone else has joined, you are welcome to request a free reading if you're interested in that. My name's Will, and I'm doing some free tarot readings today. You can check the um, video description or the pinned chat message to see how to request a reading. Okay, so let me pack these cards up and then Ascending Universal Butterfly. If you would like to if you would like to post your question in the chat, I would be happy to read for you. And meanwhile, I will shuffle. So, Ascending Universal Butterfly wants to know what messages there might be from their guides and angels. And so, I think what I'll do for this question, since it's very general, is I'm going to pull two cards and read them in tandem to get a kind of theme. And then I'll pull three cards for the actual message. Okay, so we'll start with two to establish a theme. And then we'll pull a string of three and see where we go from there. Knight of Cups. And Strength, aka Force. Okay. So the theme here, I would say, is related to what the first thing that comes to mind is that you're having to struggle with something that you find fulfilling. There's something in your life which is very important to you and that you find very personally fulfilling or satisfying, and you're having to struggle with it in one way or another, right? Like, instead of being able to take this beautiful cup and enjoy it, you're having to like shove it down the lion's throat, right? Like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? So let's pull three cards and ask that question. Whatever it is in your life, Ascending Universal Butterfly, that you feel like you're struggling with when you shouldn't be. What is that? And we get the Chariot. The Empress. And Two Swords. So what is it that you're struggling with that feels like it shouldn't be this hard? The Chariot is like, do you know where you're going? You're driven to do something, but are you coming or are you going? Are you going left or are you going right? Which is the direction? The struggle there is in terms of momentum and movement. Where is your path, right? So instead of driving forward, you find yourself sitting still, having to exercise your power indirectly, and that brings conflict. Let me move these up a little. Okay. And I realize that I didn't actually answer your question because you want to know what the question or what the message from your guides or angels is. So I have context now, a struggle regarding your direction, which is limiting your agency, limiting your ability to act in some way and producing a conflict. So, what is the best way to improve the situation? This will be the message from your guides and angels. Okay, 8 batons. Aha, death. Page of Wands, and I'm going to pull another card because I want to know what the Page of Wands is looking at. 4 swords. Well, I wish I had more insight into your personal life, but I hope that what I say resonates. Because what the message is, you need to find a practical strategy to stop exploring something that makes you sick and tired. That's the string of cards. 8 of batons, a practical strategy. This is thinking about how to build something in a really straightforward, matter of fact kind of way so that you can cut out or stop or put an end to, swipe away this situation, which is one in which you're the Page of Wands, who I often see as an explorer. There's something who's like uh, starting a new project, right? They've just picked up their baton and they're like, hey, what can I do with this? But it's turning into 4 swords, which can represent the sick bed, literally, if it's, actual sickness, but more metaphorically represents uh, problems that just won't go away, right? Like all 4 of your corners are covered in a sword, one sword in each corner, and so it's trouble or difficulty that won't go away. And so the message is to find a practical solution, a practical way to stop this starting projects or exploring new things that just end up causing more trouble. That's how I would read that line. Okay, let me look at my chat while you think about that. Okay, Aisha, I'm adding you to my list. And Anne's Human. So Anne's Human wanted to know, am I feeling lonely or emotionally lonely? Because has a connection of mine ended? Would I wouldn't say a connection with another person has ended, but there are connections sort of with situations that have changed or maybe ended. Um, I wouldn't say that I feel lonely though. It's more like, without going into detail, um, I actually have the ability right now to be alone and I enjoy it, if that makes sense. Like I'm not alone, but I have more alone time during the day at the moment. And that's something that I haven't had for the last maybe 6 weeks. And I'm really enjoying that. Like, I'm an introvert, and so I like my alone time. And I've been traveling and seeing family, and over the holidays and everything, I've been just with people all the time, which I loved. I love these people, but now that the year has started and we're sort of back into the routine, I have some more privacy and alone time, and I'm kind of enjoying that. Okay, and I'm just checking. Benzaya had a question, very big question. What's going on for the world right now, in good or evil, or is everything going to be okay for mankind? I'm going to put a pin in that right now. Um, Not because I won't read for it, but I think for that question, I would prefer to use only the major arcana, and I don't currently have them separated out of the deck, and then I'd have to shuffle them back in. So I think I'm going to put a pin in that question, Benzaya, but I may return to it. Okay, so ascending universal butterfly. I hope that these cards give you some clarity and insight um, into your current situation. To sort of sum it up, the theme was something fulfilling that you're struggling with. The elaboration of that, what is it that you're struggling with, has to do with your direction in life and the way in which movement and power or agency, your ability to act, seem to get stalled through conflicts or exchanges with others. And then the message from your guides or angels that you asked for was it's time to develop a practical strategy, perhaps by working with others. I should add that the Eight of Wands can mean collaborating with like a group with other people. So working with others in order to cut out whatever it is about starting new projects or exploring new things, which is creating instability in your life, or which just always seem to result in a problem or troubles that won't go away. Cut those out. Work with others or develop a practical strategy to cut that out. Okay, you're welcome, Ascending. Let's see. Let me pick these up. And next we have Aisha. So I will shuffle. And Aisha wants to know, what does Dr. Faisal think of me? We are online study partners. Okay. So I'll pull 3 cards for that question and read them in line. Ascending Universal Butterfly, the death card that came up there just a moment ago, something I should have said that is coming into my head at the moment is um, find a practical way to stop doing things like everybody else. That might be a good way to put it succinctly. If there's anything in your life that has to do with starting a project or or having a new inspiration, a new duty, and you just feel hemmed in by it, stop doing it like everyone else. Okay, 3 cards for Aisha. What does Dr. Faisal think of Aisha? So we're reading these cards then sort of from with Dr. Faisal as the subject of the reading, the one who acts, the one who will have agency, potentially, depending on what cards come up. The Hermit. Page of Coins. Two Cups. And I'm going to place another card at the beginning of the string because I want to know what the Hermit is looking at. Queen of Wands. Let me just look at these a moment. Okay. So okay, I think I've got it. I think that here with the first two cards, we have the Hermit and the Queen of Wands, and I believe these represent the Hermit as Dr. Faisal. Well, I won't explain why, but I will if you'd like. But for the sake of conciseness, I have to say I'm an educator, and so I tend to like go on and on and on like I'm teaching a class when really people just want an answer to their question. So I have to catch myself with that sometime. So here we have the Doctor looking at who I believe is you, the Queen of Wands, given the context of the question that you asked. And so there's a clear mutual interest, right? We'll look at these other two cards in a moment, but the this person sees you as the Queen of Wands, meaning they see you as someone who has the wisdom and patience and understanding to get the work done so that they have plenty of time to rest and recuperate as well. The Queen of Wands is wise in that she knows how to uh, build relationships and how to accomplish tasks and take care of her duties and her responsibilities. And she's wise enough to do that in such a way that she can then sort of sit down and, in this image, play her banjo. I think that's what that instrument is, right? Uh, so if there's any negative aspect to this, it could be because we want to see both sides of the coin, right? It could be that um, this person thinks perhaps you are a little bit are the kind of person who wants some attention, right? That you like to be social in groups and that you like to be recognized in that group, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Although, with some people, it can certainly go overboard, right? When they become um, attention seekers that distract from other more important things or that won't sort of share the spotlight, right? So that that's the first part of what comes up. The next couple of things we see are two other pip cards, the Page of Coins. And so There's two ways to read this page. One would be that it's another person, or I also read the pages in terms of messages or thoughts that someone is having, right? So, one way of reading this would be there's some other person involved who sort of has their eye on Dr. Faisal, but Dr. Faisal isn't really looking back at that person. That's one. The other possibility, though, is that the page of coins simply represents um, their thoughts about you. And because it's the page of coins, it would indicate that they see you as someone who's like bright, shiny, and valuable, right? Someone who presumably they would want to have more of or spend more time with, might be another way of putting it. And then we look at the card that ends the string, which is potentially very promising. It's the Two of Cups. It's a partnership. It's the beginning of a partnership. It doesn't have to be a romantic partnership. It could be. I don't know if that's within the realm of possibility at all for the two of you, but uh, it will be a fulfilling partnership, whether it's romantic or not, right? Like the 2 cups are, cups that the 2 of you could toast together to celebrate something, whether it's, you said you were study partners, so maybe it's a job well done on an exam or something, or you've accomplished a project and you get to celebrate, together. You're having, helped one another to accomplish it. So all great things here, I'd say. To summarize, I forgot to mention altogether, um, given that the Hermit comes up as the card representing this person, Dr. Faisal, um, he's lonely, or she. I guess I don't know the gender of the person, but, the hermit a hermit is a lonely person. Uh, they're it's possible that they're the kind of person who enjoys their loneliness, right? But we see them surrounded by two other people cards, at least one of which definitely represents you, which would be, I believe, the Queen of Wands. And so they see you as a kind of light in the darkness, right? They hold their lantern up and they see, oh, here is someone who could remedy my loneliness, right? uh, and they think valuable thoughts about you, which lead to a fulfilling partnership of some kind. Yeah. Okay. Uh, so that's what I see. That's what Dr. Faisal thinks of you. You're a social person who could be a friend or maybe more, that eliminates or mitigates their sense of loneliness. They think you have valuable contributions to make, and they see you as a fulfilling partner. If there's any negative sides to this string of cards, uh, it would be because I like to see I always am looking for contradictions in what comes up, and so if everything looks sort of dark, I like to look for the light, and if everything looks light, I like to look for the dark, so we get as clear a picture as possible. The Queen of Wands tends to be a more social person. The Hermit is more of a loner, right? And so that's a potential um, contradiction or conflict that could come up between the two personality types, right? The other thing would be if this page of coins represents a third party, then we would need to consider the possibility that the partnership uh, whether the hermit wants it or not, whether Dr. Faisal wants it or not, um, that the partnership, for circumstances beyond their control, likely, whether this partnership is not with you and Dr. Faisal, but with whoever this page of coins person is, um, and the hermit, Dr. Faisal, that is to say. So it's almost like there are three people here, potentially three people here. Two of them end up together, right? Together meaning in some kind of fulfilling partnership, not necessarily anything more or less than that. Okay. So I'm just looking at the chat. I'm just seeing what Anne's Human wrote in my reading. Success is coming my way. Take one step at a time, and a new thing or something is coming into existence, and understanding is coming towards me through the universe. Thank you, Anne's Human. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, you know what we could do? Oh, sorry, I'm jumping around. Benzai is asking about this reading. I guess, Aisha, would you share, are you interested in Dr. Faisal romantically? Like, are you wanting this to be not just a study partner, but are you wanting to, like, date this person? Or and of course, you don't have to share any extra info if you're, not comfortable or don't want to. That's okay. We all get so nosy when we read the cards in the same way. Because what I could do is I could pull 2 more. I think I'll just go ahead and do it, and then Aisha can throw out context as she wants to. Um, what I'm gonna do is pull 2 more cards, one on top of the first 3 that I put down, and one on the bottom of the first 3 that I put down, and we'll read them in tandem with one another. We'll read them as a pair, but the top card will indicate, how to improve the situation, like what you should do, and the bottom card will indicate what to avoid doing. Okay, so we have a string here describing what Dr. Faisal thinks of Aisha, right? And so the next 2 cards are going to tell us, um, like, how can she make use of this knowledge? What's the best way to act for her own best interest? And so the card on top is 2 of coins, which would indicate a valuable exchange, but one that is transactional in the sense that it's like it's about something that both people will find valuable. I would think here very much of well, talking, really, conversation. Uh, and on the bottom, it cuts out a little because of the camera frame. But we have 8 cups. 8 cups. And so 8 cups would be, this is traditionally the card that represents like a party, right? A big group hug, a gathering of people, um, for good times, right? Eights can also represent thoughts, collectives of people or collectives of thoughts. And so reading these in tandem, do, don't, it's saying the best course of action for you with regard to Dr. Faisal right now is valuable, stimulating exchanges, likely through conversation, as opposed to, well, sort of thinking about love, right? As though to say, to develop the relationship more fully before taking any kind of um, leap into romance, assuming that romance is within the realm of possibility. And I'm not misreading the situation. So I would say, like, have more conversations with this person. In other words, the best way to this guy's heart might be through his mind. Yeah? Okay. So I I I hope I haven't missed anyone in the chat. I don't think I have. Um, and if there are no other new folks, then I think what I'm going to do is jump back to Benziah's question, which is a big one. And I'd like to use just the major arcana for it. So I'm going to separate those from the rest of the pack. And I think this will probably be the last question that I read for this afternoon or evening. And Aisha says, thank you, right. I agree to that. He likes me a lot. I can say that. Yeah, I mean, another way to think about this, and, if another way to think about this, Aisha, is if there is a third person involved, just a minute. If there is a third person involved, this would sort of say, like, at least for now, keep things professional, right? As opposed to romantic. At least for now, right? Things can always change. Okay, so I'm pulling out the majors, the trump cards, and we'll ask a big question. I like to ask big questions, and I'm of the mind that there is no question you cannot pose to the cards or to any other kind of divination for that matter. Okay. Let me count these and make sure I have all. Cool. 22. I'll set the minors aside. If we need them for clarification, let me just shuffle them. And so what I'll do is I'll lay a string of 3 from the majors, and then pull from the minors if we need clarifiers. Okay. So let's go back to the question. All right. So let's phrase the question this way. What is the biggest challenge facing the world right now? It's a huge question. What is the biggest challenge facing the world right now? Okay. The star. The moon. And the tower. Let me just look at these a moment. So, because the tower ends the string, the tower can be read as a house, it can also be a prison or a hospital or some other kind of building. Here it's the Stonewall Inn. And it's on fire, right? It's hit by a disaster. The house is coming down, so to speak. So, this card by itself, reading it in isolation, which I'm doing only as a preliminary gesture, um, says that the biggest challenge we are facing, human beings are facing, is the destruction of our home. And so this puts me in the mind of thinking of climate change, um, or other means by which the planet itself could be, let's say, rendered inhabitable for human beings, right? Or if not inhabitable, um, less hospitable for human beings. With the star and the moon, to complete the picture, the star, the figure on the star, is pouring out these vessels of liquid or water, and until there's nothing left, right? So we've used it all up. There's nothing left, right? And with the moon, night is coming. The sun is setting, and in a sense, we're running out of time, which creates fear, confusion. Things become distorted. It becomes difficult to tell what is true and what is false. We become impressed or influenced by others in ways that are not in accordance with reality. Right? Think about the way the moon reflects the light of the sun, but doesn't actually have any light of its own. So I'm going to grab the minor arcana. So, what is the greatest challenge? Well, the greatest challenge is we've used up or are about to use up all our resources. Time is running out. Night is falling. And the house is on fire. I want to pull one of the minors because I want to see the stars looking at something. I want to see what it is. Three batons. Okay, so the three batons. Three batons is work taking shape, like making good progress in building something, but it's not quite completed yet. It's not at the level of the four where you've got all four corners covered. Here we've just got the three. And I'm trying to find a positive way to spin this, and I'm struggling because the three of batons is sort of telling me, not that it's a bad card or anything, but like the third option that was available to us, like time is running out to take advantage of that, right? So like we're working on building a solution to our problems because we're running out of all of our resources. Night is falling and the house is on fire. If there were any way to find a new direction, it seems to be in the past, right? And so the question that comes up, which I'm not going to try to answer because not because I think it's wrong or impossible, but to some extent, I believe it's beyond the scope of our ability to answer it. Is like, is there time left for us? Is there enough time to find the solution to our problems? And so in case I didn't make it clear, I'm reading this in terms of like what do they say? Anthropogenic climate change, right? That's what comes through for me. Reading this as our home, which is falling apart. And in our fear and confusion, we're running out of resources. And so the work we've done has not been enough to stop the house from falling over. And so the question remains, how quickly is the moon going to come out? Is there time left to finish building whatever it is we need to build? So I'm going to leave it there. I think that's a lot to think about. That's a really good question, Benzai. I appreciate the question, and I liked reading for it. I like to do big readings like this because, the vast majority of questions tarot readers get, and I do enjoy reading them, but they're, relationship questions and kind of trivial things. And the other day I read about what kind of vinegar I should use in a recipe I was cooking, and that's all great, but sometimes I think it's important to be reminded of some of the grander questions that the tarot can also address, and this is a great reminder of that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream for today. Thank you to everyone who was here and for asking your questions and letting me read for you. If there was anyone I didn't get to read for, or anybody who might watch this in the future at some point, I'd be happy to read for you. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so that you can have a better sense of when I'll be reading. And that'll do it for today. Again, I've been Will from the Hermit's Lantern Tarot, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.